Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to take a look at the Transformers Shatterglass Leader Class Grimlock. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below. Is it a pickup or a pass? Now let's take a look at the figure's packaging. So here we have the packaging. Starting at the very front, we have Transformers inside. Of course, we have an open window displaying the figure in the packaging. We have a Shatter Autobot symbol with Shatterglass in white text with Grimlock in white text as well. A close-up of Grimlock in his T-Rex mode breathing fire with those really sharp teeth looking very cool. At the top, we have another Shatterglass logo as well. Turning to the side, really, it's just kind of a wide shot of that same T-Rex artwork that we saw from before on the front. Of course, now we can see the legs and the body and the really cool little dino claws. And of course, we have a Shattered Autobot symbol as well. On the back, he transforms in 23 steps. There's a product shot of him in his T-Rex and robot mode, of course, with that blaster accessory. There's also a brief description or bio in several different languages. I'm actually going to read it for you. So it says, created in a Decepticon lab, Grimlock was deactivated due to his violent tendencies. He was stolen by the Autobots, who quickly became their most powerful warrior. And on the final side, of course, just that same T-Rex artwork that we saw from before. And that is pretty much it for the packaging. So let's now get into the review. Here we have Grimlock in his robot mode. Let's start off by taking a look at the details, starting at the very top with the head sculpt, really nice white for the entire battle mask or face, with some orange for the visor or eyes, and of course some black for the main helmet section. There's also some little paint apps of purple at the crest and the side of the face. There's this really cool huge piece of transparent orange plastic with a really cool sculpted in or molded in Autobot symbol on the other side, which I do quite like. And the base color of the chest is a really nice dark shade of purple, and I do like these really cool venting sections there. As for the shoulders and the forearms, I do like how big and bulky they are. Of course, he's a very strong, huge character, which I think they did a really good job showing on this figure. I do like the shade of gray they used, almost gunmetal gray. There's actually quite a bit of really nice surface detailing in the shoulders and the forearms, and I do like the purple symbols with the white outlining. It actually looks really odd, just seems odd to me because of course we're typically used to the kind of reddish orange color for the Autobot symbol, but this time it's purple, and I think it works very good for this color scheme. And I do like the green paint apps and details as well. If we actually do look at the side, there's some more sculpting and detailing. There's some more orange and purple as well, and the hands are done in black. We actually have the claws from the T-Rex mode near the hands. That's very accurate to Grimlock's G1 design. I think it works pretty well on this figure. My only complaint is, unfortunately, it's made out of that kind of, cheap, unfinished, grayish white plastic. Would have been nice if it was maybe painted in silver or gunmetal gray. That would have been a really nice addition. I think it would have made the world of difference. If we actually do look, of course, at the top of the legs and the waist, mostly done in black, so pretty plain in that aspect, in that area. But of course, for the front of the legs, we have some more really nice paint apps like the white and of course some orange and green. And if we actually do look at the back, of course, overall pretty well filled in, no gaps, no waffling, nothing sticking out too much. We actually do have the dino head and neck, but I do like for this figure, they actually have it locked into place. I actually used to own the Power of the Primes Grimlock, and that figure is not very good. One of my major complaints for that figure is the T-Rex head actually, of course, was stored on the back, but it didn't tab into place. It would just flap everywhere all the time whenever I would position the figure. So I'm really glad how this is nice and secure. We do have these panels here, but again, that is accurate to his G1 design, so that I really don't care at all. There's actually some really nice sculpted detailing. There's some circuitry detailing. There's some pipes. I really do like the green and the orange. Of course, they have the little dino arms, which look pretty cool. And overall, a very well detailed and compact figure. As for the articulation, of course, for these little panels, they're actually very movable and articulated, which is really fun. You should probably watch the intro of this review. Make sure you don't see it because I had a lot of fun taking the pictures and posing this guy. So, of course, there's actually an in and out movement, and there's an up and down. As for the little dino arms, there's a ball joint at the base, and there's actually a hinge at the elbow. So, very posable, very fun to handle figure. As for the rest of the articulation, of course, the head can look up and down, side to side, of course, and it'll look left to right. As for, of course, the shoulders, I'm just going to move those panels out of the way. The, of course, shoulder can move out and in, forward and back on ratchets. There is a bicep rotation. There is, of course, an way past 90 elbow bends. There's also a wrist rotation, which I was not expecting. If we do move the arms out of the way, there is a fully uncompromised waist rotation. The legs can kick forward using those clickety ratchets, and of course kick back as well. And out to the side, there is rotation at the top of the leg. There is a ratcheted knee, and there is an ankle pivot. So very good articulation. I really do not have any complaints as of articulation, which of course should be expected. This is a leader, $55. It should pretty much be spot on to any other leader class figure. So very impressed in that aspect. As for, of course, accessories, that's probably where this figure does fall short. So if you don't already know, of course, there was a previous release using this mold. It was the Stu Series 86 Grimlock. I actually do not have the figure to compare to this one. The only change is actually the accessories. So with that figure, it came with a non-transformable non-transformable wheelie, which actually could sit on his shoulder and of course ride him in his T-Rex form. A lot of people did not like it that I heard of. Of course, never owned that figure, so I really do not know myself, but a lot of people hated it. Again, as I said, it did not transform, so it was kind of useless. It was just kind of really dead as a display piece. So unfortunately for this figure, they actually removed it, completely scrapped it. It is not included. So for this figure, it is only including this double barrel blaster, which I do like. I really like the glossy black and the orange. It's actually blaster base compatible, which is really nice. It's a cool weapon, but this is an exclusive, so really this figure should come with more accessories than the main line. So that's kind of disappointing. Would have been nice maybe if they had added like a sword in replace of course the non-transformable wheelie. Maybe they could have included like a custom blaster piece, so of course you could attach it to the T-Rex mode so it looks like he's breathing fire. Just something really would have been nice, because again, this is an exclusive, so it really shouldn't have less accessories than of course the mainline version. It just really doesn't make sense to me, but that's really my major complaint for this figure. So for storage for the weapon, you can actually store this in two different ways. One of them is actually on the back, so there's actually this entire kind of circular cutout, and you can actually use either dino arm, use this whole pole, and it can attach into place just like that. I actually did not know this was a feature going into this figure. It's a nice storage option. I really don't think I'll use it myself, but of course if you want to, go right ahead. But of course, the main number one way of storage is you can use, of course, the post and the port in his hand, and you can plug it in just like that, and there we have the storage. And I think that looks very cool in his hand. Of course, I could do a much more of a dynamic pose if I had the time, but for the time being, I think that looks really cool. Let's now get down to a few quick comparisons. Here he is, of course, with the core class Grimlock. So again, as I said, I don't have the Studio Series release, but I do have another Grimlock, and I think they look very cool side by side. And I have to say, if they wanted to get some of the core class designs for the Dinobots and actually do some Shattered Glass core class figures, I think that would be a really cool thing to do. I'd be all down for that. I think that'd be really fun. And now for one more quick comparison. Here he is actually with the other leader they've done in Shattered Glass, that being the Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus. As you can see, Grimlock is very, very big. Just size-wise, of course, compared with Ultra Magnus, he actually kind of towers over Ultra Magnus. So this is a very big figure. And that is pretty much it for comparisons. So let's now get down to transformation. So what you're going to do is remove the accessory, just put this off to the side for now. Then you're going to, of course, there's a gap, you're just going to push the hand in and that will fill in the gap just like that. Plug that into place. There'll actually be a clicking sound. Do the same thing on the other arm. So just click that into place like that. And then what you're going to do is actually go to the arm. There is actually a tab and slot. This will actually lock into place for the T-Rex mode. Do the same thing on the other side, so just lock this into place just like that, and then you can actually push the head up just to get that out of the way. As I mentioned before, this is actually locked in place, which I'm really glad. So there is, of course, a slot and tab. As, of course, for the other steps, we're actually going to go to the back of the legs. You're going to get these pieces here, fold these down, and of course fold them in like that. Then you can open up these panels right here, just like that. And then what you're going to do is actually pretty much unravel the leg, pretty much fold it up, just like that, and get these out of the way. And you can actually move the arms just to get some added clearance. And there is, of course, these slots right here, and there is tabs right here. So just fold all of this up. This will actually form the entire tail of the T-Rex alt mode. And of course, all the while, make sure you tab this into place. And then what you can do is actually flip this back around. So we're going to extend these little tail pieces like that. Extend these little tail pieces, and then of course these will just kind of fold over these sections right here, so that'll just fold into place and fold into place. And then just make sure, again, everything is nice and secure. I do apologize if anything comes untapped. There we have pretty much the entire tail portion of the T-Rex alt mode. Then what you're going to do is actually get this entire chest piece here, just loosen this, and there is, of course, tabs, and there was a slot right there. Hopefully you can see that. That's how that tabbed in place. You're going to use that same tab, and there is a slot right inside there. You're just going to push this down like that, and that will tab into place. As for, of course, the T-Rex legs or the robot mode arms, you can kind of position these however you wish. Of course, have them at a running pose, more of a sitting pose, really up to you. You can then push the head in, and then, of course, we can get these panels, bring these forward. There is 2 posts on this side and 2 ports on that side, and that will just plug into place just like that. Make sure everything is secure. As for the last few steps, you can kind of position the dino arms however you wish. Then, of course, you can bring the T-Rex head down and into place. And there we have, of course, Grimlock in his T-Rex alt mode. Let's take a look at the details. Here we have Grimlock in his T-Rex alt mode. Let's start off by taking a look at the details. Starting at the very top, of course, some really nice sharp teeth done in white with some eyes done in that really nice orange. Some nut and bolt detailing in the dark gray for the main head or skull section. Some white for the entire neck and some more orange on the top of the head. Some really nice circuitry detailing done in green and some nice pipe detailing done in orange with little dino arms. Could have probably used some more paint-apps like some silver for the claws to just, further highlight them, make them more obvious, but a very minor complaint at that. We have the entire tail, which I'd have to say is really good. They compact all the panels super well because unfortunately with the power of the Prime Dinobots, one of the main problems with those figures is they put all the kibble, all the panels pretty much at the back of the dinosaur mode, so it always look really, really ugly. So I think they did a really good job with this. All the panels are kept away, nothing ugly. There is these hinges here, which is a very minor complaint because you can barely even see them most of the time, so not too bad there. As for, of course, the legs of the T-Rex mode, these are, of course, the arms from the robot mode, so most of the details I mentioned before are just kind of repeated here. We have the purple Autobot symbols, we have some really nice green paint-apps, tons of nice surface detailing, some orange and purple on the side, and again, the claws used in that kind of unfinished grayish white plastic. Not the best. It's not nearly as bad as, say, Legacy Evolution Metal Hawk. There's several areas on that figure, his accessories, his arms, and his legs, there's several areas on that figure that have that unfinished gray, so that's really bad. But for this figure, it's only one area, so I can easily give it a pass. As for, of course, articulation, it's actually really, really good. So starting at the legs, they can kick forward and back. Out to the side, there is rotation at the top. There is a knee bend, and you can actually collapse the claws if you want to. You can actually put them in some really cool, running poses, some stomping poses if you want to. As for the little dino arms, of course, there is a hinge at the elbow, and there is a ball joint at the base. The mouth can open and close if you want to, and there is rotation at the neck. Another really cool feature for this T-Rex mode is actually there is a post inside his mouth, so you can take any effects piece from any figure you want to and actually attach it in there so he can look like he's breathing fire, which I do have to say is a missed opportunity. For that second accessory, they could have included a sword, or they could have included like a brand new custom blaster piece and you actually make him look like he's breathing fire. It could have been a really cool like smoke, huge fireball piece. I think that would have looked awesome. Definitely a missed opportunity in my opinion. But now, of course, for his accessory storage, he actually has one way you can actually store this huge, double barrel blaster. I'm going to cut some slack. It's not the best place, but of course it's a T-Rex. Where else are you going to put it? So you just go to the back here. It can be a bit finicky at times, I do have to be honest. So there is, of course, these two slots right there, and there is two tabs right there. So you just have to do your best to align both of these up just like that. And it doesn't look the greatest, but again, it's a T-Rex, so there's not that many places you can really put it, so it just tabs into place just like that. Again, it can be a bit finicky to get both tabs aligned, but there is the storage. It's just okay. If I would actually design this figure, I probably would have put like a port like at the back of the neck so the weapon could be actually facing up, so when he's running, it could look like he's shooting and of course charging at the same time. I think that would have been pretty cool. Maybe that would mess up transformation somehow, I really don't know, but that is pretty much it for weapon storage. I'm going to take this off because it does not look the greatest. Now let's get down to a few quick comparisons. I'm actually going to position him like this. So here he is with, of course, core class Legacy Evolution Grimlock, looking very cool side by side. Just the size of them, it just looks so silly with them next to each other, but actually pretty cool at the same time. And now for one more comparison, here he is with the Silex Shatterglass Optimus Prime, looking really nice next to each other. Both, of course, evil Autobots, looking really nice next to each other. And that is pretty much it for this mode. So let's now get down to, of course, reverse transformation. So what you want to do is actually go to the hand, just pop it out just like that. So that will click into place. Do the same thing on the other side. So just click this out like that. It will click into place. There we go. And then what you want to do is close the mouth, and you can just push this up and over. Then you can open these panels, just kind of wiggle them open like that. Separate these panels just like that. So there we go. And then just bring these back there, just out of the way, just to get some clearance. And then what you want to do is bring the arms out. Then you're going to separate this entire chest piece like this. Then you can push the head up, and then tab this back into place just like that. And there we have the entire chest and top portion of the robot mode all done. I'm actually going to move the camera up so you can see what I'm doing. And let's move to the legs. You're going to separate this entire section of the tail in half. Then we can flip back to the front. So you can open up these panels. You're going to flip the tiny tail piece back in. Same thing on the other side. So just flip this back in like that. Then you can, of course, fully extend the leg back how it was, just like that. Same for the other leg, just fully extend that. And then we can go to the back. You can close these panels up, flip the heel spur back into place. And now it's just a matter of how you like to position the figure. So let me just kind of straighten him up a tad bit. Just kind of move his arms back into position, move the panels down. And for the last step, you just need to tab that head back into place. And I do need to reposition the camera. And we can equip him with his weapon, like that. And there we have the reverse transformation. Let's now get down to the final thoughts. So now for the final thoughts for the Transformers Shatterglass Leader Class Grimlock. I have to say I highly recommend this figure. So of course going into it I really did not know what to expect. I never got the Studio Series 86 Grimlock. That was the original version of this mold. So this is a brand new figure for me. So I was like, I don't really know what to expect. So I did lower my expectations because I didn't, of course, used to own the Power of the Prime Dinobots and those were really bad figures. So I wasn't going to be too hard on this new Grimlock figure. But I have to say I was pleasantly surprised. This is an amazing mold, an amazing figure. I'd say probably the only area that really should improve is the accessories. This is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive figure, and this figure comes with less accessories than the original version or use of this mold, which really doesn't make any sense. I have to say, honestly, if they still wanted to include the non-transformable wheelie, I would have been fine with that. It still would have been another accessory. I think it would have been pretty cool. They could have taken that, same typical G1 wheelie, mold, and they could have just, turned it into a Shatterglass design. They could have used the same colors from Grimlock. They could have, painted him like that darker gray, maybe some purple and orange. I think that would look pretty cool. They could have, put him on his shoulder or make him ride on the T-Rex mode. I know some people don't like it because it doesn't transform. That's a valid complaint. I think it still would have been nice to include in this exclusive thing. Other accessories they could have included maybe a sword or like a custom blaster piece. I think that would have been a really nice addition. Definitely a missed opportunity there. But of course, for the robot mode, overall very well articulated for a leader. No complaints on that aspect. There was an ankle pivot, there was a wrist rotation, waist rotation, arms and legs. Pretty much absolutely perfect. The back panels are actually really fun to mess with. I had so much fun taking pictures. Make sure you watch the beginning intro for this review. There's some really cool poses and I just had so much fun doing that. I do love the really cool transparent orange plastic piece on the chest with the Autobot symbol really well molded in. I do like the purple Autobot symbols. It's just so weird to look at because of course we're used to the kind of reddish orange design, but not in this case. It's super weird and cool. I do like the head sculpt with the very faint purple paint-ups on the crest and the side. Really weird to see, but I think it's super cool. As for the entire back, overall very well filled in. There's no waffling, there's no access panels, there's no kibble hanging out, all really well filled in and compact. As for transformation, it's actually really not that complex, which is kind of surprising because this is a leader class figure. I think it's 23 steps to be exact. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but that's quite a few steps. I was expecting it to be more complex. I mean, it's a leader. Typically they're more challenging and difficult, but I have to say I only need the instructions maybe once or twice, and it's pretty fun to do back and forth. As for the T-Rex mode, again, I did lower my expectations because it's a T-Rex. It's much more complex and hard than to do like a plane or a car or a truck. So I was lowering my expectations, and I again was surprised. Love all the mechanical detailing. Of course, the robot mode arms do become the T-Rex legs, so most of the details and the paint-apps that you saw from before in the previous mode are in the next one, so nothing crazy there. I do have to say, really, my only complaint appearance-wise for this figure is the claws. Unfortunately, they're done in that kind of unfinished gray plastic. It looks a bit ugly. Would have been nice maybe if they cast it or like painted it in like a silver or gunmetal gray. I think that would have made a world of difference because it just looks cheap. Of course, it is only one area. I actually compared it to the Legacy Evolution Metal Hawk, that Voyager class figure. That figure has areas like his accessories, his arms, his hands. Several areas on that figure have that unfinished gray. So that's a really, bad area of the figure, a bad problem with the figure. So this figure only has one area, so definitely not as bad by comparison. Still, I really think they could have done a little bit better in that area. As for articulation for the T-Rex one, actually pleasantly surprised again. There's actually a neck or kind of, rotation at the neck, so you can put off some really cool poses. The mouth can open and close, and I do like the addition. There's actually a built-in post inside the mouth, so you can actually attach some effects pieces so it can look like he's breathing fire. Again, a perfect opportunity for them to include their own new effects piece, so it, of course, it could attach in there. I think that would be a really good idea. Definitely a missed opportunity. I think also maybe the articulation in little dino arms could have been improved because there's no rotation like at the actual claw or hand, if you should say. It would have been nice if there was some more, because you could have some more expressive poses, some really cool kind of running or like attacking poses, but a very minor complaint at that. Weapon storage for the blaster, not the greatest, but it's a T-Rex, there's really not that many places you could actually put it. It's a huge weapon. I really don't know where I would put it myself if I made this toy. I had a few ideas, but of course I don't make this toy. There probably is some specific reason why they could have done some other, maybe they could have like attached it to like the top of the leg, or maybe like on top of the head somewhere. I really do not know, but as it is, it's okay. Of course, any storage is good storage. It doesn't look the greatest. I probably won't ever use it, but it's still nice to have an option. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below. I really do hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.